Good evening, everybody. I wanted to do a quick rundown of some notes I have given all the discourse and intrigue surrounding Diddy's case that has gone mainstream finally. Obviously, the number one goal is to tie Diddy to Lou Taylor, insofar as our longstanding advocacy on behalf of justice for Britney. Now, what I will say is that just mentioning Lou Taylor isn't enough, because clearly what we have been working on has not really broken through and made the big media talking heads cover the real true story. So by tying Lou Taylor to Diddy, that will advance our cause exponentially. So what I wanted to say is just that a good way to bait people into learning about our mission is to have some good talking points given our media censorship and a lot of people's ignorance around this case, and how people tend to need wild conspiracies instead of the true provable fact-based knowledge that we have already. So what I will say is Diddy's legacy mafia, not only was his dad involved with the black mob, but he's very tied into the Russian Jewish mafia that controls so much of the music industry. And those guys are the OGs. Those are direct descendants of the Chicago outfit, who is really the most powerful organization after the fall of the Italian mafia. And they're tied in with Russian oligarchs and casinos and money laundering through real estate. So they're all bad guys. It's a big net. So while we're just seeing this RICO case as it pertains to Diddy at the head, there's other RICO activities all over the map. And I do have a connection map I built a while ago that people can use to reference and tie it into other people's pre-established interests. There's a lot of people who talk about corruption in sports, a lot of the same people, entities, monetization processes in sports and entertainment. So to get Lou on the radar of these people, let's get into it. We'll see how there is influencer bias insofar as who and how people cover these stories and who's involved in them. So we've seen pictures of Diddy with Trump circulating, with Obama, with Hillary. It's not really cool to stand a politician and assume that this isn't bipartisan corruption, and that we're seeing it happen in Democratic cities like New York and Los Angeles. If we see trafficking as a partisan issue, we'll never solve it. And if we make up fantastical sci-fi stories about what's happening, what people drink at these parties, we will delay justice because people will dismiss you out of hand. So let's see. So the reason I kind of knew this was coming is because it leaked via TMZ, of course, a couple weeks ago about a hotel being subpoenaed by the grand jury, and they wanted all their records going back to 2008. I have identified that hotel as likely being the Fontainebleau in Miami, which has a very wild story that I wrote about on my Substack. I mean, it was started by the Chicago outfit. That's actually where the CIA met with the mafia to arrange the assassination of Fidel Castro in the 60s. So when you think about how the music industry is today, it's all the same people. Like, their parents may have been in it. It's the same networks. So Frank Sinatra is all over the place. We have pictures of him hanging out with Harvey Weinstein, because Harvey Weinstein started out in Buffalo, New York as a concert promoter in the 70s. So these are all connected. I mean, birds of a feather, So Trump's involvement to whatever degree, I don't know. Obama, I don't know. I don't think it's worth looking into that kind of stuff because there's so much other things that people can learn facts about, and we have to use our time wisely. I mean, so Clive Davis was like a mentor to Diddy, and Clive Davis, he got felony tax evasion for how he was operating, I believe, Atlantic Records. So he's old school Russian Jewish mafia, and Diddy started out. Dad was in with Frank Lucas, who was a big heroin dealer. He's the one that the Denzel Washington movie was made about. They were using dead soldiers from the Vietnam War as a cover to import heroin into the United States. So really bad guys. Diddy, he kind of stole Biggie from Uptown, and then he started Bad Boy. That's where Lou Taylor first encountered Diddy at Uptown Records, which had recently been bought by MCA while Irving Azoff was running MCA Records in the 80s. So you're seeing people start to roll up hip-hop, rap, record labels. That's when you kind of see like the entryway for how gangster rap gets to be the dominant form of urban black music. And there's all sorts of conspiracies around how it glorified negative aspects to fill private prisons. And there's a whole other conversation around being able to prove that synchronization. But we can prove that Diddy was involved with a predatory debt company called Unifund. And I mean, people can go to debtor's prison or jail because they don't pay their debt from these obscene predatory loans that are targeted towards poor and minority communities. Russell Simmons was involved with this as well. Russell Simmons even had the Rush card. So we don't have to look very far to find other suspicious things about Diddy. And so when you look at him and connecting him to Lou Taylor, both houses that the Homeland Security folks raided are in LLCs that have TriStar Sports and Entertainment's business address on them. TriStar is Lou Taylor's company. And so in the indictment today, they mentioned how there's a whole network of employees that helped Diddy run his empire, criminal empire. And it seems pretty logical that Lou Taylor and Robin Greenhill would be wrapped up in that. Robin Greenhill was mentioned in Lil Rod's lawsuit as being the one to pay S workers and wire them money for their services. So that's pretty easy. Diddy's house was right by the facility where Britney was held against her will. Some of these things, I've been one of the only people talking about it for a couple of years now, so it's very rewarding to see the story break. Now, Lou Taylor also works with the Kardashians. I don't think the Kardashians will go down in this. I think the Kardashians will cooperate with the federales, and they will save Kanye. Because there's all sorts of, once this breaks open, if they're really going after dirty money in the U.S. being laundered through real estate, stolen money through Russian oligarchs, 1MDB scandal, the Kardashians have plenty of reasons to cooperate with the feds. I think they will also do a lot to save Kanye because, I mean, he kind of ran in the wrong direction when he stopped, you know, when he rebelled against the family. Because I really think that Kardashians have always been under Irving Azoff. I mean, Irving hired Robert Kardashian at MCA in the 1980s. I really think Kris used her knowledge that she got from Robert to facilitate her children becoming famous. That's about it for now. And what I want to say is that even Live Nation, they were producers of Diddy's recent documentary. The CEO, Michael Rapino, is executive producer on Bad Boy for Life, the documentary. So it's not that far away from any of this. After Astroworld, it was Diddy who came forward and publicly proclaimed that he was uncanceling Travis Scott for that tragedy. So when you look at the timeline and relationships, that's how you are able to identify people's crews. It's not always through business paperwork.